I'm walking into the village of Eardisland, Herefordshire, a delightful village of centuries-old cottages and houses situated on the River Arrow. We're going to take a look around the village, have a look at some of these old houses, talk a little bit about the history, and then I'll show you the church and finally the remains of the old castle and moat. I've picked a beautiful day for it. Bright and sunny, but not too warm. This village, while it's a weekday, it's very quiet here. There's barely a sound in this village except for the bird song. Now the village I'm in, as you can see, has lots of black and white timbered houses. There are several villages in this area that are like this, and so this village is part of the Black and White Trail, as it's called, a kind of tour you can do of lots of similar looking villages, all with centuries old timber framed cottages. Now, in the centre of this town there's an information board which has pictures of these houses and contains a little bit of information about each one, when the house was built and any relevant history. So first thing we'll do, let's get ourselves to that board. Okay, and here we go. So there we are. That's information about, well, most of the old houses in this village. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a photograph of this board on my phone, and then I'm going to walk around and I can zoom into the picture I've taken and hopefully read the writing. So we'll have a look at some of these houses, not all of them, and then I'll read out the information on my phone. So as videos go, this is a fairly easy video to make. Okay, I've got the board photographed, and yes, I can read all the information on it, so this idea is going to work. What I think I'll do, I'm going to retrace my steps back where we just came in. There's a few old cottages and barns down there, and I think it would be a good starting point. Okay, so the first one we'll look at is Riverside Barn. This was built for crop drying around 1770. It features a stone tile roof and, unusually, a fireplace and chimney at one gable end to draw air through, creating a drying draft for hops and flax. Okay, here we have Arrow Lawn. A late Georgian property, so that would be 1830s. I'm guessing, I'm not quite sure when the Georgian era was. On the other side of the river we have Arrow Bank, that's the brick building over there. Started life in the 1500s, greatly extended over the centuries with the elegant Georgian frontage added probably in the 1700s. Here we have Arrow Cottage, dates from between 1650 and 1680, and believed at one time to have been Eardisland's third pub, the Bull Inn. Okay, this brick building is the Dovecote, built around 1770 and originally part of the Manor House estate. This impressive structure was used by the ladies of the house to take tea. For a short period in the mid-19th century, it became the girls' school. The Staic House has overlooked the River Arrow for almost 700 years. It's a masterpiece of domestic architecture and testament to the quality of Herefordshire vernacular traditions. The central hall is thought to date from the late 14th century and has ornate cusp detailing at the apex. This cottage is called Bridal Goose, and it's in very nice condition and built sometime in the 1600s. This is the courthouse. This dates back to the 1500s. In 1577 there's a record of this house being sold for the sum of £400. Next we have the AA box, which is the AA used to provide a breakdown cover for still do provide breakdown cover for cars in an emergency. In the old days, you had boxes like this. This is where the AA repairmen would wait. Will this open? Yes. Okay, there's a glass window. So inside we can see a map, a distance chart, and an old telephone. Yeah, so this is the oldest surviving AA box in the country. Later on, it had a telephone installed in it, so if you broke down in the area, you made your way to one of these boxes, telephoned an engineer, and he'd come and sort you out. This is the manor house. So the original part of the building, the timber part, was constructed in the 1600s, with the brick extension being added sometime in the 1700s. The White Swan pub, with origins dating back to 1530. This has a fireplace surround, so the board says, that goes back to the Elizabethan era. Well, I just went into the pub and the landlord reckons it's older than that. Anyway, he let me film in there, so I'll just cut to that bit now.
It was originally a bedhead, Kindersley Castle. When it was sacked in the Civil War, it was stolen.
Right, okay.
And it was identified, I don't know how long ago it was identified, but it was identified as being the bedhead in Kindersley Castle. So that's its origin.
The three houses are respectively Appletree Cottage, the Burcott, and the old post office. And these date to sometime in the 1500s. The old post office, which is the building on the right, that was actually a petrol station until 1980. So it had a little forecourt out front with some petrol pumps on it. This very cute thatched house is called Toad Hall, and this was built in the early 1600s and was extended sometime in the late 1600s. This one is called the Latchets, and it was built between 1650 and 1700. Now, the board tells me that the gable end of this house reveals that the roof has been raised. Not quite sure how. Anyway, there must be a clue there. Here we have a telephone box that is no longer a telephone box. Of course, phone boxes have got a bit obsolete with the advent of mobile phones, so a lot of these phone boxes, small villages, have a defibrillator in them. Some of these other phone boxes that aren't used anymore are used as makeshift libraries. You know, locals just leave old books in there for anyone else to borrow. Rita's Tea Rooms. The board doesn't give a date for when this was built, but it looks old. This is Stephen's Cottage, and this gets its name from someone who bought it in the 1800s. It was originally built in the 1500s, but it was bought in the 1800s by a man called William Stevens. He needed to borrow the money from a gentleman to buy this house, and he promised him that if he couldn't keep up the payments, then he'd marry his daughter. Well, he ended up marrying his daughter in 1892, so I can only assume he couldn't keep the payments up. That's how things were in the olden days, I guess. Sorry about the money, I can't pay you back, but I'll take your daughter off your hands. Anyway, that's enough houses. I think there's a lovely old church in this village, so let's go and have a look at that. So this is St Mary the Virgin, and the oldest parts of this church date back to the 1100s, although apparently the tower was built sometime in the 1400s. Anyway, let's get inside, take a look around. Nice bit of stained glass. Ah, right, there's a board there showing the names of all the vicars over the centuries and the year that they started their term, I guess. Ah, that's a lovely old organ. Okay, I can see some ropes hanging from the ceiling, so they must be the bell ropes. And there's a ladder going up to the loft. Is there any chance I could go up there and take a peek? Probably not. No unauthorized admittance. No, okay, better not risk it. A pity. It must be a sight up there if it's full of bells. But hold on, I've just seen a monitor up there. A CCTV image of what appears to be the bell tower. There's all these wheels and stuff, so let's pull one of these ropes and see if anything happens. Yep, I can see a wheel moving there. Right, so we sort of saw the bell tower. I didn't pull any of those ropes hard enough to ring the bell, but this is a very quiet village, so maybe that's for the best. I don't want to cause a ruckus. What a lovely old church. Well, I'm going to head back to the centre of the village now, but there's one last stop on the way. There's the remains of a castle in this village. Well, not actually the castle, but there's the moat and the little hilltop it was built on. So we'll go and take a look at that. Right, so this is what remains of the castle. So the castle itself is gone. But what remains is the kind of earthworks upon which it was built and a very complete looking moat. Still a complete circle. A lot of these moats get kind of, disused and filled in. So there would have been a not very big castle built up there, probably made of timber, sometime in the 1100s, and it doesn't say when it disappeared. But yeah, lovely that they've still got this feature in the village. I'll head back to the centre of town now, to that little bridge over the river. Okay, so I'm back in the centre of town, and I think I'll wrap this up here. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour around Eardisland. I've really enjoyed walking around here. It's an absolutely beautiful day, and what a beautiful tranquil village. I'd say perfect, but I've just noticed the sandbags behind me by the side of the river. Got talking to a local, and the River Arrow here can flood in winter sometimes, and some of these houses do get a couple of inches of water on their floors, so not everything's perfect. But thanks for watching. If you like the video, there's a button for that, and more videos coming along very soon.